communication. But did you know that there can always be alternative ways to communicate with each other? If we cannot see, then we can listen. In this task, we may use the blindfold trust walk game to execute an alternative way in communicating. This game involves pairs working as one. The receivers are blindfolded and is led through the playing space by the instructions of the senders.
Right, left, stop, right,
Communicating while blindfolded when someone is giving you a message was a bit challenging because of some barriers. The instruction of the sender might be mixed up with the presence of noise in the surroundings in the point of view of the receiver. It is difficult to follow the voice, especially when you cannot see what was in front of you, and was also difficult to picture out what was the expression of the sender while giving the message. Considering other factors, the instruction might be false and there can be a misinterpretation or misunderstanding. It was difficult to give or relay a message to the person who is blindfolded. So as the senders, we made some adjustments in the way we delivered our messages. We tend to shout instead of just speak just for the receiver to hear us loud and clear. As the blind receivers, we made our available senses more powerful, especially our sense of hearing. Some adjustments like active listening, using tactile clues, asking for clarification, and using assistive techniques are being executed to receive the message of the sender clearly.
Not being able to speak is not the same as not having anything to say. In this task, we use the charades game to execute an alternative way in communicating, especially on not allowed to speak. This game involved a player, which is a sender and a receiver. The sender is the one who will have to act out a phrase through a sign language, facial gesture, and eye contact without speaking. The receiver is the one who will guess what the sender acted. Non-verbal communication refers to the way we communicate without speaking. There are many ways to communicate non-verbally through facial expressions, sign language, gestures, body language, and eye contact. As a sender of not allowed to speak, the difficulties that I encountered, it's not easy for me to deliver the message through a sign language and facial expressions. It's a challenge for me to act, especially when I'm not allowed to speak. As a sender, it's difficult to relay a message, especially when you're not allowed to speak. You need to have a long patience and be understanding. Also, you need to be clear on the actions that you will do so that the receiver can understand and guess it.
Some people won't hear you, no matter how much, how loud, how truthful, real, sincere, and profound you speak. Their mind is trapped within.
Nag-review ka na ba? May quiz tayo mamaya. Ay nako. Nagkasabay-sabay pa yung recordings, tapos may quiz pa, tapos may report na rin sa nakikinig ka ba? Ano? Kinakausap kita.
As a sender of the message to the person wearing an earphones with rock music playing on it, it's hard to get the receiver's attention because the earphones are the obstacle to our communication, or what we call communication barrier, where the receiver unable to hear me and notice me. Since the receiver cannot hear me, I decided to tap her on her shoulder for her to notice that I am talking to her. Also, to properly communicate with her, I seated next to her to continue the conversation. As the receiver, the tapping on my shoulder implies that someone is trying to communicate with me. So, I immediately